it's loading. Oh, did it finally start? I think it finally started. Check for me, son. It should have finally started. Can you guys see my screen? Most people at least. If not, here's the YouTube link, guys. You can't see my screen. DAX 100 would be the only thing to really pay attention to besides gold. I mean, yeah, here's the thing. Like, I trade NASDAQ, and I've been trading NASDAQ for during London for a while. And I actually like it. Like, yeah, DAX. I actually trade DAX too. Okay, I've been waiting for UK 100 actually, but I trade a very high time frame on UK 100 and DAX. I mean, I do trade the 5 minute when there's opportunity. So, like, we can actually look for opportunity here. I'm not really seeing much because I'd want to see a break of this high to confirm internal structure is now bullish. So if we can break this 5 minute high during open, I'll play the buys into this 15 minute or into this hourly equilibrium of this new hourly bearish internal leg. And then I would hop right back into sells with the idea that since price is bullish on the 4 hour, price will have the pullback of the hourly and then sell off down into the discount of this higher time frame range. So everything I do on NASDAQ, gold, US 30, I do the same thing on DAX and UK 100, just at a higher time frame, way higher time frame. Again, I will still trade the 5 minute at times, but only when there's a quality setup. Okay, so like with DAX and UK 100, I haven't, like, I'm not a breakout trader, but I haven't personally taken a trade on DAX UK 100 in like over 2 weeks. But again, it was just kind of consolidating here where it was just not ideal for me to trade at all, especially because I trade my live account when I trade UK 100 and DAX. So I'm trading pretty big and I don't need to rush anything truly. Because even though I haven't taken a trade in the past 2 weeks, when UK 100 and DAX start moving, I hit, like the week before the 2 week span, I think I caught like 5 or 6 trades. 4 of them were winners. I think even 5 of them were winners. And it was just a bunch of trades back to back to back to back. That's how it is for me in DAX and UK 100. When does the one with you and Luca drop? It actually drops this next week, I believe Monday. So be ready, especially if you guys kind of follow along with Luca and like how he trades. It's going to be and there's actually something really cool, really cool that I made and coded inside there, and you guys are really going to like it. A lot of you guys will. Depends on how you trade though. UK 100 moved hard yesterday. Yeah, it did. Like, I can't lie, UK 100 does move. Like, it does have really good volume at times. And sells don't look too bad right now. The reason I say sells don't look too bad is because what do we see? And again, like, I'm very picky with UK 100 DAX, especially when I'm waiting for higher time frame. I'm not going to just go to the lower time frame. I'd rather trade NQ. But what do we see here? This leg is bearish. We had a pullback, and then what did the lower time frame do? The lower time frame started to change trend within the internal, break internal lows, had a pullback, break internal lows, has a pullback. I think that hit 50%, maybe need a little bit more, and then we can expect price to potentially continue lower. But I think we'll catch something on NQ, guys. I have a feeling. I know a lot of you guys may not be used to trading NQ during London, but honestly, I love it. This was during Asia, another slow session. Especially with my system, I actually don't like that much volume. Where was the setup the other day from London? Here. This was like right before London, guys, where I was still waiting for a setup from Asia. Caught these beautiful sells here, just to kind of show you guys that price does still move decently well on NQ, even at night, where the whole idea behind this trade was we can see that we're within this bullish leg. Okay. So with that in mind, we know that price can pull back before we go higher. So we need to look to the lower time frame to identify any type of switch. And again, the people who trade with me know what I do, but I'm just kind of explaining it to the people who don't trade with me. But as you can see, price came down, broke these internal lows. We entered at the 50% of the new bearish internal leg, targeting the bullish legs equilibrium. And as you can see, price did bounce back off from that area. That's why I exit at those areas. So someone earlier asked me, do I just go for 101s? No, sometimes it's 101, sometimes it's 1.2. I do like going for 1-2s more or less if I can, but But if price is going to go higher here, that's fine. we'll play the next leg higher, meaning if price does expand from here, oops, we'll just play the pullback. Simple. As far as gold's still not giving much here. What's more dangerous, FOMO or revenge trading? I think revenge trading, but I think they equally can hurt you, to be honest. You're gonna take a trade, that's the plan. But again, like I'm not just gonna go and take a breakout right at London Open, guys. That's not how I trade. Like yeah, DAX and UK 100 may look good for that. If anything, I would expect sells on UK 100, but I'm not really gonna do a breakout trade here. It's just a matter of what NQ does. Okay, so if NQ, where we're sitting right now, even if it goes higher or lower, we're gonna look for a setup. Okay, so if it breaks this, we're gonna look for a pullback here of some sort if we get the setup. Okay, so I think we will get a setup today, but I can't just like go and say I guarantee I'm gonna take a setup, because I'm the type of person, it's like if I don't need it, if there's no setup, there's no setup. Like I'm not gonna force something just to take a trade. You know, that like again, like that's, it's not revenge trading, but it's just like, you know, the person who just asked what's more dangerous, you know, that's a dangerous trait too. And traders is, you guys think you need to trade every single day. Like I know someone a while back, he used to trade, but like he would show up and would just take a trade even if he had a system, because he felt like since I showed up today I should be taking a trade. And this is not what you should be doing. Truly, that this is a bad trait, it's a bad habit. Let's see what DAX did. See UK 100 is flying too. Again, I want UK 100 to fly too and break this high, because then I could potentially catch a swing trade. Which again, also guys, I've been sending after Asia session some screenshots of trades that I'm looking at, and they've been banging. They've been hitting. Why do 99% of traders fail? Biggest reason, they don't have a system. That's why I made this. Well, one, you have to have a system, but two, some people who even have systems and know what they should be doing, they don't follow their system. Okay. Some of it's psychological and stuff like that, but nonetheless, it's a big problem. What's UK 100 on futures? So UK 100 and DAX is not on most futures platforms. So you're probably not going to find it on a futures platform, especially Legacy doesn't have it, nor do basically anyone else. Okay. You and Luke are similar, explaining why you aren't taking a trade instead of forcing one. Yeah, you know, like again, there's a reason we're similar, and there's a reason why we're both succeeding in trading, is just because again we're able to identify if there's a setup or not, and if there's not, then it's just okay, we walk away. I already had a decent week, you know, I don't need to force anything. I can come back in next week, you know, I'll be here Sunday trading Asia, and you know, my waiting could pay off. And a lot of times it does, you know, like obviously I could get my setup here, and if I do, I'm gonna take it. But if I don't, I'm not, you know, and we could get our setup and we could still lose. You know, that's just the name of the game. But either way, at the end of the day, it's just, again, do we see our system? And if we do, did we do everything correct in taking it, even if we lose, win, whatever it may be? Okay, I think that's the most important thing in trading. What time do you trade Asia on Sunday? 6:45 p.m. PST. Every single day of the week, I trade 6:45 p.m. PST. And tomorrow too, I might be doing live power hour. Okay, because Luca doesn't usually do power hour on Fridays, but I was thinking, you know, why not just hop in? Why not hop in and see what we can do, you know? Like again, it'd be the same thing like tonight, is like if there's no setup, there's no setup. If there is, there is. Great, you know, we take one. But Asia already blessed. Asia blessed a lot of you guys in chat. Again, like even like I was saying, gold was fucking beautiful. Beautiful too. Again, I mean, gold wasn't as good, but in the sense of I was calling this alive. We finally broke this low right here. As you can see, oops, went a little too fast. But price on the lower time frame broke this internal high here. We mark the fib from the low to the high. We enter at the 50% here and just take it off, or just run it into the next 50% of this bearish leg. Again, that's why I love my system so much. And like, I usually don't brag a lot about my system. But like, I It's so simple. No matter what session market you're trading, it's just identifying what leg you're truly playing within. And again, like I'm not guaranteeing you're going to win 100% of the time, but if you understand risk management, and either way, I think you'll be winning more than you lose. You're going to be good. Nas broke, yeah. So Nas did break, guys, and that's fine. That's why I was kind of waiting on a trade here. So what would be the next play here is potentially seeing if we can catch a pullback of this new bullish leg. So price did expand from this low to this new high. So ultimately, what we can expect is, yes, price can keep buying here. Nothing says it has to pull back now. But what's going to tell us is when we drop to the lower time frames and when we see price give us a setup as far as like breaking internal lows and starting some type of bearish internal trend. WK, Fire Louis. It did end up selling off. Wow. I think it facilitated the pullback. It didn't, though. It did. It did facilitate the pullback, guys, on the lower time frames here. Those really could have been decent sells there at this equilibrium of this bearish leg here. Tapped it perfectly. I would have held all the way down to these lows, though, but at 1 and 2 it would have been juicy. Now it's going down. Yeah, we got to wait a little bit. We're going to wait for price to come down and break like these lows or something. But honestly, I don't think price is done yet for some reason. I think we're going to maybe do something like this. It's the breakout fire. Luca's Monday, Thursday. Yeah. When is the Luca Power Hour? Yeah. So Luca's Monday through Thursday at 12 p.m. PST. It's a fire session. Power Hour is actually a great fucking session, guys. So that's why you don't be playing games and shit, bro, when you're trading. Crazy. Now it's going down. Oh, it did. Fuck. This might be a play, but I'm not too fond of it, to be honest. Why I get so fucking loud? Six points. It's more like 8 now. Do we take this? Doesn't look terrible here. 31 contracts. Oh, that's for $500. Should we take these sells, guys? Risk small here. We would basically be risking profits from Asia. We'll sell at that level. Stops at the highs. This is going to be a quick trade, guys. I'm not in just yet, but this will be the only trade of the night for sure. Still a good trade. We have imbalance. We broke these internal lows. We did retake these highs as like a form of liquidity sweep. So we're just waiting for price to do this. I'm in sells, guys. Sorry. Have your stop loss set, risk appropriately, guys. Again, this is not a guaranteed win here, but it is a good trade that I would be willing to take. This is what we've been waiting for. And when I told you guys I want to see price break, and then we look for a potential pullback down into here. Okay. So that's the overall idea, but I'm not risking big at all, guys. Okay. I'm risking profits from earlier, basically. And if we make a little bit more, great, because we could catch a 1 or 2 here. Being that once we get down to these lows, if we do get to these lows here, I'll move to break even and then just let price run into the 0.5%. Yeah, I'm in the sell right now. So if we just get a massive expansion here, guys, some good volume, at least get to these lows where we can move to break even, hopefully. And then from there, it's just a risk-free trade for hopefully a 1 or 2. But we need to hit that low first. If you guys want to move to break even now, you can. I'm not at break even. I'm going to stay in this trade. It's either I lose this trade or we get to 1-1 and I move to break even. Okay, there's no in between for me. If we're going to lose, I risked based off the idea that I'm fine losing this amount of money if it doesn't hold. All right, we got a really good rejection. We got a really good expansion, but price is now kind of coming back a little aggressively, which is not the best, but nonetheless, still at a point where I do think sales should continue to play here. But again, that's why I say have your stops ready, because it's such a low time frame where a price can just gain a shit ton of volume and then you just have a way bigger loss than what you should have, what you intended. Okay. We're getting close to that top there. This might be lost, guys. Obviously, we had a really good push at first. Looked very beautiful, but might be a loss for London here. We're edging it. Yeah, we're going to lose, guys. Kind of sucks. But I lost the profits from Asia. So if you guys were with me during Asia, hopefully you're still break even with me. But honestly, I would still look for the same thing. Okay. Will the indicator be for DX or just trading view? It'll be for trading view. Yeah, guys, so it took this loss. That's fine. I kind of want to see what price continues to do here. I honestly think that if price continues to expand, we're still going to get another opportunity for sales, which we could look to take the next opportunity if we chill here for a little bit longer. Just because, again, I know price will have a pullback of this leg. It's just a matter of when. In this case, we were a little bit too early, clearly, okay, where price obviously still wants to expand higher. But again, the reasoning behind the trade was strong enough where we saw price breaking internal lows, and we could assume that price could have continued its short-term sell-off before the continuation of buys. Because again, even if I want to buy here, guys, always remember, even if we wanted to buy here, we first need to wait to see the pullback. So that's the idea, is trying to catch that pullback there, which again, in this case, wasn't too successful. But honestly, I have a feeling that we're just going to sweep this and shortly sell off, which we could enter on that. That wouldn't be too bad. I would put more risk there. $38. Oh yeah, son. Excuse me, guys. But I want to see if price continues to come back down. There is a lot of times where price may have just came back up and treated us as liquidity here. Okay, there may have not been enough liquidity taken here where price came back up and manipulated these highs again to do exactly what we intended it to do. Okay, which is still come down and facilitate the pullback at some point. So we're just waiting for that there. Gold, nothing good on gold right now. So it's really just kind of NAS. I was hoping we had a really good expansion here just for a nice little break-even trader 101. But NAS didn't bless today. Well, it blessed earlier, but didn't bless right now. But like I said earlier, guys, is like, one, we may not even have traded today. Two, I told you guys, if we did trade today, it would, it's still at risk of a loss here, even though we had a really good time earlier, or a good time this week. Again, like, we still have opportunity here. I'm willing to put another trade on the table if we get a setup here, just because of the fact that it's still a good setup. Okay. And I can appropriately go and risk a little bit more here, or not necessarily more on the trade, but risk again for a second trade. I was hoping to get a pair with your trade. I mean, price coming down, saying you should have held. Pussy. I'm just kidding. No, it was a good setup though. I mean, I liked it. We just had really good rejection, but honestly, if price does re-break these lows after we just did that, I can definitely say that price just needed more liquidity before completing the move that we expected. So I will be waiting for something like this, guys. And I will take this, because at that point we are re-breaking the lows again after taking more liquidity. It's honestly even better than the first trade. Again, still risk appropriately if we do end up hopping into this, just like I am. Just because 13. Obviously, it's not guaranteed, but I do still really like this. And again, the whole idea is to target the equilibrium here. So if we just continue to sell off and hit equilibrium like we're literally about to right now, then now our trade's invalid. So that sucks, guys. So if you guys did take that loss with me, one, I took it too. But again, it just goes to show that price still did want to make its move to the downside. It's just a matter of us not having enough liquidity. But truly, we did still see a decent sweep here. Okay. But it looks like, again, prices need a little bit more. And we could see buys from here on out, but I'm not too interested in buys, to be honest, personally, especially after filling this gap like that. I wanted to hit my stop loss fire. Again, if you guys made some money, great. If you guys held, great. Yeah, it sucks. You know, I lost the money from Asia earlier. But oh, wait, what did DK100 do? But again, like, I'm still glad that it was able, or you guys were able to see how price played out, even if you lost with me, just to see how price does move. You know, even in these cases where we have good setups, we may lose in situations like this. But nonetheless, the direction was still correct. And that doesn't mean I'm going to hesitate on the next setup. So if price does rocket up from here, I would actually still be confident in taking the same exact setup that we took over here. Even if it was similar, even if we lost again, I would still be confident in it because, again, I know majority of times we're going to win. Okay, just like over here. What was price? Price was bearish. And what do we see? We saw an internal trend starting to form here. Higher high, or was the pullback? This was the pullback, new leg higher. I took this pullback, or we caught this buy here up into these areas. Okay, just like here, but opposite direction as far as the sells or selling off into the bullish legs. We are buying up into the bearish legs here. But I'm sad that we lost that first one, guys. That kind of pissed me off, though. It's been an honestly really good week, but it's actually also been an unfortunate week. There was another trade on either Tuesday or Wednesday. I think it was Asia, if I'm not wrong, or Power Hour, where we had a really good setup place. It missed by 1 or 2 points and ran for 1 and 2. There was another situation on gold where we got taken out, just like this one, and it ran right back down. And then this one to end the week, which sucks, but maybe Power Hour we make it back. Most likely I'll be live for Power Hour tomorrow. But nonetheless, I still can't complain on the week. Just some unfortunate events like this. But I'm curious to see if DAX does make its way, or I mean not DAX, NQ makes its way back up here. We did tap here, not on DX, but we could also continue to remain bearish within this link here. We could risk it, you know, and look to have a deeper retracement into this bullish leg here. That could be a play. But again, like, the risk with that and doing that is that price may not be looking to go lower, and it may have just looked to tap this and skyrocket. But again, internal sales still aren't too bad here. Okay. Obviously, I wouldn't shoot long. I would really only shoot for 101. 11 points. It's just like kind of going against trend. Like it's like this is like a 50-50 here, guys. Is again, price can remain bearish, especially because the hourly looks good for continuing bearish. Previously, hourly candle looks good for buy. So like it's just super 50-50 here. Where like I'd rather just continue to know that, okay, like we took a loss today, instead of just hopping in this knowing it's 50-50 and taking another loss to add on to today. Because again, it's not guaranteed that's going to win. Like price can win back to the upside here. Okay, just because we kind of did miss this area, even on DX. So that's where I'm like kind of thinking about it a little bit. If like we should take it or not. I kind of missed it. I'm almost tempted just because we missed the equilibrium on CME data. So it's making me infer that price should still come lower here. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to have the pullback, but that would have been the spot right there. Just for a 101. So I can have the same setup, 15-minute time frame. Yeah. Yeah, you can look for the same exact thing on the 15-minute. 100%. Just identify what leg you're playing within, like what higher time frame leg you're truly playing within, and then look to find your entry based off that. I kind of want to take these sells, guys, if we tap into this area. This would literally just be to make back what we lost. And a lot of it's based off the fact that we still need to hit the 50% here. We barely missed it It's both NASDAQ, but this is more appropriate data. That's my issue. I don't know which leg. Well, like in this case here, this is what, like, just off the minute, when we look at the most recent time, this is the leg we're playing within, from this low to this high, because we see we broke structure. So this is this is the leg we're playing within, and it's clearly bullish. So based off that, we can either play the pullback or play the continuation. But the reason I don't like playing the continuation all too much is because the continuation may not be as strong due to the higher time frame. Okay, the even higher time frame, because the even higher time frame is telling us we're bearish. So for us to think that price can go long off here, like, yes, it's possible, there is probabilities, but since we're in an even higher time frame bearish leg, the probabilities actually lean more towards sells. That's where I'm actually still contemplating taking these sells to the downside here. One, because we still haven't hit the target that we intended price to hit, or intended for price to hit, but also because the higher time frames are giving us the idea that we can actually sell off into this low, and then potentially even these lows over here, which these might actually be session lows. Well, the time's all fucked up, so. Where do I set my stop loss? My stop loss is at these highs here, all the way at 30,194, and entry is at 30,182. But we'll see if we get it. Again, if price does dip down and then come back up, I'm not going to take it. But if we do hit our entry beforehand, I will take this back to the downside. We could, like, if price does win here into 101, since we're risking the same amount we did on the first trade, we can either close to have a break even trade. I mean, we're technically break even right now since we caught an Asia trade, but or we can just hold on and look for price to really. In this case, we kind of would be hoping that price starts its bearish expansion, but I think the probabilities are there that price can look to go bearish fully from here. But like, yeah, when it comes to the 15-minute leg, like, again, like, it's hard, trust me. Like, it's hard to really understand price, but just about repetition and going back, and like even watching my YouTube videos and stuff like that will help you guys in seeing like what leg am I looking at, why am I looking at this leg, and stuff like that. Can too much knowledge destroy a trader? Yeah. Well, like, not necessarily. Like, too much knowledge, like when it comes to, like, let's say you're consuming information on 5 different traders with all different systems. At that point, that could be too much, because you might get stuck in this trap of trying to use this little piece from this guy's system, and this piece from this guy's system, and this piece, and this piece, and this piece. Next thing you know, you have a fucking system where it's just a bunch of different traders put together. And I'm not saying that can't work, but it's just the information could hurt you. Like in this case here, where I like sells, okay, but someone who may, or let's say I was looking for sells here, but I was so big into ICT and I kept consuming ICT knowledge and I knew these were good sells. But let's say I saw something with ICT and I saw this inverse fucking fair value gap or some shit like that. I'm not saying there is one, okay? But let's say like I see that. Then at that point, I'm allowing another system dictate my judgment on another system's trade. Where again, I believe that this is a very good setup due to the way I trade, but someone else may not see it that way. But if you have the same mindset, you have all this information that you've consumed, you're going to allow all these different influences to affect your decision making. It's just not good. That's where it can really hurt you. Watch price just like rip down without us. At that point, I'm out of here. It's possible. Sorry, I'm like totally forgetting about YouTube. All right, nobody's chatting. I like how you don't play fair value gap. Yeah, like, I mean, I'm not saying it's not a good, it's a good system. Like, I see a lot of people succeed with it. But like what I explain to you guys every single day is just how price moves. Truly, and it's not even just that I think that, like we can go back and we can just identify something just like that, just by basing it off the higher time frame leg and looking to catch the pullback. I mean, we all know price moves in waves. And this is what I love about my system too, is like when I was new to trading and really kind of like first getting in it, I have a vivid memory of me talking to my good friend at the time, still good friends with him, but I would trade with him, and I'd always point out the fact that price always pulled back. And I told him, I was like, there has to be a way to catch these setups. There has to be a way to catch these pullback trades. And over time, just through understanding and learning and repetition, I realized that there is ways to catch these pullbacks, especially because we always see them. So we know that the probabilities are there. It's something that repeats itself. And it's just about figuring out how to identify when those pullbacks are happening. And, that exactly comes down to lower time frame structure. Again, like we did just lose here. Yes, that's unfortunate. It is. But nonetheless, the idea of the sells, the directional bias, still played out perfectly. Okay, so we knew what price was going to do. It was just a matter of being too early. But that's where I say I'm not going to win 100% of the time, even though I have a very strong idea of what price should do next. Okay, but when I do win, I make sure to capitalize off of it. Can I enter twice, right? Can I enter off the two bullish legs that present a setup within the same thing? Whatever it may be. But again, like it's just how things move. Because FVG everywhere. Yeah, that's a thing sometimes with the FVG is like it's everywhere and you don't know like this is like fucking the gap, like this is a gap. Like the way I like to look at it is this is just all imbalance. So I still assume that price will come down and fill this imbalance. Okay. But I just don't look at it as like a fair value gap. What's one rule that completely changed your trading? Follow your plan. If you can have a system and follow your system day in, day out, there's no reason why you're not like you shouldn't be profitable with at least within like 6 months to a year. Obviously, like there is going to be psychological issues that have nothing to do with your system itself. But if you're already following your system and you're strict on that, all you have to worry about is the psychological aspects. You don't have to worry about the technicals. That's what a lot of people don't realize is like people are worried about their system, the technicals, and they're worried about their psychology. So you're worried about both things, a lot of these new traders. But if you were to just do the one simplest fucking thing, it just takes discipline, is follow your system and don't do anything else but that, then you don't have to worry about the technicals as much. Now you're just worried about your psychology. Okay? And then you just kind of build off that. All right, like obviously you're still going to want to make adjustments if something's wrong within your technicals, yes. But, it's not necessary. Or I mean, I can't say it's not necessary. I've heard psychology is 90% trading. It is. It's a lot of psychology. Like in this case here, like, one example is like obviously price we lost on this first trade sucks. Like I'm not going to go and tilt and just hop into buys right after because we lost, because we would have lost the fucking buys. So like that's a big psychological thing where like people are like, fuck, I lost sells, I'm gonna hop in buys. Just because you lost doesn't mean you're wrong. That's why I always tell you guys, like, don't consider yourself wrong when you lose. Okay, consider yourself too early, because pretty much you're always too early in some aspect. You could be a couple seconds too early, a couple minutes too early, a couple hours, days, months, weeks. Some point price is going to come back. Okay, once you start getting to like you're a day or two or a week early, okay, at that point, yeah, you could be borderline wrong. But telling yourself you're too early also is a mindset thing. Okay, it's easier on the head. There's not as much emotions that you're going to come out of it, in the sense of like you telling yourself you're wrong, you're going to feel like fucking shit. Whereas telling yourself you're too early allows you, I think truly, at least with me, I didn't feel as much like shit, and it would kind of push me to go back and look at what I did wrong, make observations on what I could have done better in this situation, instead of, saying in this case right here, I was wrong. No, I was too early. And even before we saw that price came back down, I knew I was too early. Price could have continued to go all the way up here. I would have still waited for price to come back. It just happened to be that price swept us out as liquidity and then did have its pullback that we were intending. Okay. So I learned if I catch myself losing patience and try to jump onto something without influences, I close my phone. Yeah, that's good. Like have these disciplinary actions. If that's going to help you, find more discipline or patience in something that you struggle with. There would be times early on in my journey where if I broke my rules, if I was just being stupid, wanted to trade and I broke my rules and I took a bad trade, and this was years and years and years ago, I would not allow myself to eat any carbs. Like for me, I love carbs. So I would just be like, nah, fuck you. Like, don't, you're not eating any carbs today. Like you did the one thing that you shouldn't be doing is broke your rules. And over time of me continuously repeating those actions of following my rules, if you guys have traded with me for a while now, you guys know I'm very strict on that. You know, if it's not my system, it's not my system. I don't take it just because I think price is going to go down. Like, again, I still had the idea price was going to go down even after we lost. But you didn't just see me hop right back into sales because I think price is going to go down. No, I waited for another setup to form before I started to anticipate another entry. So, again, and you know, I hope even if price sells off here without us, again, the idea was to get entry at the 50% to take price down, but price is kind of just stalling down here, where I think we will just make the rest of the push into our overall target. You know, I'm fine walking away with the loss, especially if, you know, I kind of taught you guys a thing or two, even if it's just psychology or how to think about things. Uh, you know, I hope that helps. But I kind of want to like not enter this trade. I just don't like how we're just like ranging now. Just ugly. It's ugly as fuck. The fuck is playing? I may not even enter this, guys. I just don't like how we're ranging for so long. To be honest, like we're just holding down at these levels. This kind of looks ugly. I personally don't even want to enter. What's something profitable traders understand? Yeah, I'm gonna flatten my positions, guys. I'm gonna just watch this one. I just don't like that we're kind of ranging here, to be honest. I don't want price to be giving us the idea that it is holding at this level and we are going to continue higher. I would have preferred something a little bit quicker here, but I'll still watch price play out and see if it would have been a win. And if it is a win, great. I'm not going to, you know, be upset or anything. Like, yes, it could have made back our loss. Okay. But at the end of the day, like it's, you know, we have next week. I have power hour tomorrow. With something profitable traders understand that beginners don't. I can always go back to following your rules again because I can think back to when I was a beginner and I didn't think following your rules or having a system. I think the biggest thing was like having an actual system. When I say have a system, that's not just like have a fucking idea of what you're doing. No, like have a full on fledged system of this is what I'm gonna do at this time when my session opens. This is what I'm gonna look for. If I identify this, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm going to do this, and then I'm gonna enter. After I enter, I'm going to look for my targets, and I'm going to exit at this area. I'm gonna move to break even at this area. You know, you may not move to break even, so that, you know, isn't a worry. But that's what I mean by a full-on system, like a plan, like, you know, something to go into the markets with, and you know what you're already going to do. Not I'm gonna go into the markets and hopefully I see my setup and, you know, like I'll take it and then I'll just like I'll just target wherever I feel like I made enough money. Like if that's you right now, I'm not making fun of you, but I'm just saying like there's definitely a lot of growing that you would need to do from that stage in order to actually start seeing like long-term consistent profitability. um it's a game, you know, like have you guys ever played video games? You know, like that's really what it is. You know, it's kind of leveling up your character. You're the character and you just have to learn the game, be better at certain aspects. Risk management, psychology, you know, like when you die in fucking Call of Duty, you know, like let's say you're playing Call of Duty Search and Destroy and you die, so the next round you fucking rush in trying to like, you know, kill everyone in game, whatever, and like you stupidly run in and die again. It's the same thing with trading. It's like obviously if you lose in trading, you don't want to just hop right back in into a setup because you're probably going to just lose again, right? So, you know, over time you kind of just start progressing and building as a player or a character, and that's what trading is. You guys can understand that little bit. You guys are solid, truly. All right, guys. Again, I am no longer taking this trade, guys. I'll take it. Like I literally negative 38 on the day from yesterday's win. So we'll see if price does play out here. Again, I'm not officially saying I'm calling this trade. I'm just saying it is still a decent trade, other than the fact that there's a reason I'm staying out of it because price ranged. And I'm not saying that's going to have a big impact on price, but it's just the idea that price is clearly holding at this level for a reason, where I'd rather just not participate in the setup and see if there's something later on, either into the night or tomorrow or next week. Okay, so it's just not worth it for me. Not saying it can't win. I still do think probabilities are leaning more towards the sell side, but just because the probabilities lean there don't mean it's going to go there. So just keep that in mind. But again, if you guys haven't yet, next week we got a new week coming up. There's gonna be a bunch of streams next week, guys. Not just in here, but in the kingdom. So if you guys don't have an account yet, go get an account. Well, I can't type. And you guys can go use code Nick for 20% off if you guys want a little discount or something like that. Again, not in this, guys. But I just want to see what price does. If price plays out, I'm gonna hop off. If price plays out that way, I'm gonna hop off. Either way, we could sit here for another 30 minutes, yes. But I think we had opportunity. We just got liquidated very quickly for a price of, again, do what we wanted to do. So I can't complain about the day as a whole. I saw one or two people said they made money, which again, I'm not going to say it's a good W day, whatever, because I didn't make money, but it's still not a terrible day. Hopefully you guys learned a little thing or two. Either way, I just want to see if price does play out here. I'm very curious to see if price does. Did anyone take it, even though I didn't? I just want to be clear on me not taking it. Okay. I don't need someone saying I took it and I lost. Dun, 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 dun. What happened to the music, man? I'm holding from the OG position? No way. What? Really? So you're like at break even right now? Did you take any partials? You weren't paying attention? Well, hopefully price does end up staying within this bearish range and does fulfill its true target, which should be that 50%. But again, I'm not gonna bet my life on it either, especially with these no top wicks, like how price is printing here. I would have loved to see like a quick rejection rather than a breakthrough, but we'll see what happens. I'm gonna give it like 5 more minutes, 4 more minutes. If we push down into profits in 4 minutes, then I'll just wait to see if price fully plays out, just because I want to see if price does. I'll be watching either way, or if we just push into stop loss, I'll hop off. The fuck are we listening to? Some Henry shit. I hate that it turns up. All right, boys and girls. Sorry. I think I'm out of here. Again, quick recap. We did lose this trade. Price still ended up running into our targets. Not bad. Again, if you guys are in sells, I think sells do have a decent chance here. But I just don't like how we're not really creating any top wicks, no true rejections. But again, probabilities do still stand for sells. But nonetheless, nothing else. Great Asia session today. Not a bad London. And I almost like to be at Power Hour today, guys. So join me at Power Hour at 12. I'm not saying for sure yet, but there's a high chance. Okay. So that being said, guys, I will see you guys then. For sure next week, 6:45 p.m. PST. I'm out of here. Later, guys. Later, YouTube.